All right.
Yep.
I see no change on my end.
It'll take a second.
Okay. Oh, it's turning green. Oh, is it working? I think it's working. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee with an Archaeologist, episode 7B, attempt two, whatever the hell we're going to call it. Um, I'm going to see can I get the chat up from the previous attempt because apparently people were talking to us and I couldn't. I was unable to be heard by everyone. How do I get this to pop out so I can
Uh,
close this window?
I don't know. There should be a
Both.
button. Top
There's
right,
not.
3 buttons.
There's no button here for me at the moment.
Okay,
Maybe it
so
needs to
next to live
buffer.
chat, it should have the 3 little dots.
It's probably buffering, and then once it's done, I can
Okay.
probably
There's
get
also
it.
nothing there yet, so.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So
I'll try and
where
rustle
was
quietly,
I?
sorry.
What do you reckon we should start from the top?
Yes,
Yep.
as anything that was heard in the last stream may not have actually gone through to the stream end of it, because I don't know how much of it I hear that the stream hears.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, hello everyone. I am James, aka Cool Cross. I will be your archaeologist for the moment, until we can procure more archaeologists and tie
So
them
you
up in
can
the
dig
basement.
some up somewhere.
Hey. But yes. Where was he? Where was I? So I guess who am I? Because I think that's been the most interesting question I've been asked in the last couple of weeks, namely by Nuka, who has been talking to me for like 4 months and asked me, what was it, last week? Who the fuck are you, by the way? Despite me being on his show multiple times. Yeah. So yeah, my name is James. I am a independent historical archaeologist with a particular interest in the lives of regular everyday medieval people. That said, I also have an interest in experimental archaeology, and I will occasionally present the odd workshop on handcrafts or survival skills. I have studied video and broadcasting, qualifying with the City and Guilds of London. After which I pursued historical documentary, leading to my research on historical heritage studies, sorry, which is basically kind of Irish ethnicity. This led me into my HDip in archaeology. So this is how I end up being historical archaeologist, I guess. Started with doing kind of videos and documentary and ended up this type of thing. You can tell with the standards of my channel. God damn it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you can hear me okay this time around, yeah?
Yeah.
Loud and clear.
Hello, Leona. I don't understand why this works so much better using this old legacy.
because-
internet usage on your
It's
end.
because the other top one puts the stream through your computer twice, because YouTube don't know how to optimize their shit, which is why I never use it for my streams.
Yeah. And I noticed you sharing my stuff on Twitter last week, Leona. Thanks for that. All the support for the channel is greatly appreciated. Um, yeah. Ash is currently muted. She's probably wrestling with dogs.
She's not muted.
Is she?
I
She's
can
muted
hear
for
her.
me. I can't hear her.
I can hear
I'm
kitchen
here.
noises.
I'm
Oh,
not in my
okay.
kitchen, so ha.
I can hear kitchen
That
noises.
must be your
so-
kitchen noises.
Yeah. I was opening my mail.
Ah,
I'm assuming Mr. Cross, as I am
Mhm.
not Cross, my name is not James, but I would like to inform you that this video is not suitable for children or anyone under the age of 18. So if you are, viewer discretion is advised. Now
Yeah.
back to your host.
Supervise your kids.
If you are a child and you are currently watching this, please leave and head over to Skog's second channel, where he
Don't.
is
No.
currently playing Minecraft
I can't be in 2 places at once. Fuck off.
and talking about coronavirus.
Hey, I said shit really early on and went, okay, never mind, on the trying to be PG.
Ah, All right.
Technically said bullshit, not just shit.
Oh,
It's the same difference.
right. So we were currently reading off
Picked up
archaeology
line.
pickup lines.
Yep.
So was there one of those first ones that was a favorite that I will reread, or will we continue on reading?
I
from where we
couldn't
left
really.
off?
I
I mean,
couldn't
you might as
really
well
hear.
start
Let's
from the
start.
top.
Yeah.
Oh,
Why
I'm
not?
not reading all 3 pages. I'll read like maybe.
Read
I'll read-
alternate
10,
ones.
First 15.
I will read a choice 10 from the 3 different pages, and I'm just going to randomly pick ones that sound good from just looking at the sentence quickly. So, hey baby, I want to see your bedrock. Let's pretend you're full of C14, so I can date you. My, you are a special find.
Ooh.
I am a linguistic anthropologist. May I study your tongue? Care to shine my trowel? So, want to get dirty? Want to share a trench? Can I excavate your mounds?
Oof.
Yeah.
Hey, I've just discovered a bone in my pants, and I was wondering if you could date it. I like
Sorry
your
for the
hot
dog
spot.
noises.
Can I can I touch your tangible heritage?
Oh no!
Hey
Almost
baby,
that
can
one
I
that-
survey your features?
I say, do you have the one about ground penetrating radar?
Probably, but I don't see it to hand right at the moment.
It'll
That's the
come
one
up,
you
I'm
brought up
sure.
last time when you couldn't remember what GPR stood for.
Is that an increment boner in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? Baby, I have a huge grant. I've got a huge grant.
I get it.
So yeah, moving on from those terrible pickup lines. Yeah, no worries,
You
Leona.
mean great?
Oh no. If I cut out.
No, it's Ash.
Nope. It's
Okay.
me.
I can pretend to be like a newscaster now, and I can swap over to the next page. So, I was asked by Ash sent me in a couple of interesting questions to answer, which is number 1 on my list. What is archaeology? And if you look at the legacy videos in this playlist that I've been saving these to, the Coffee with Archaeologist, you can see the pilot episode which I recorded like 2 years ago, and I answered this very question: what is archaeology? And you know what? You're getting pretty much the same answer. Archaeology is concerned with the full range of past human experience, now and how people organize themselves into social groups and exploited their surroundings, what they ate, made, and believed, how they communicated, and why their societies changed. These are the engrossing questions we address later. Never mind. I'm literally reading out of Archaeology by Renfrew and Bran. This is the 7th edition, and if you have any interest in archaeology, I recommend this book. And I need to actually sort out some sort of affiliation with Amazon so that I can have links in the description for that.
I mean, you can do it
Yeah.
anyway, you just don't get paid.
Yeah. Well, I want to figure out how to do it so that I can get some money from it. But speaking of which, below should be a link to my Streamlabs. Sorry, I need a drink.
So if you wish to support Cross during his endeavours, you can do so.
Yeah.
The link
One of
below.
which will be one of the things I'll be spending the money on is better internet so that you can hear me talk about interesting things more clearly. Stu actually found a nice internet company that does satellite internet, so I should be able to get signal, I guess. But I want to double check that it isn't interfered by weather systems like my current internet, which is like my mobile hotspot. Is
Yeah,
that what
like
you
you have
called
a
it?
weird wireless router thing.
Yeah, through my
Correct.
mobile hotspot. Yeah, and yeah, there's a school that's blocking the signal, so and weather interference because I live in Galway on the coast, which is not a great place. also, I live in rural Galway on the western side, which is, oh no, weather systems. Anyway, I does that answer the question of what is archaeology, or will we delve more into that?
I think it covers it in at least enough terms that someone who's really desperate can read a Wikipedia article.
Mm-hmm. Ash also sent me some other information that I'm just gonna have a quick look at. Yeah. Oh, the difference between an archaeologist and a historian. So an archaeologist will deal more so with more kind of practical findings. So like
Digging stuff up, not just looking in
yeah.
books and reading
Yeah,
historical accounts.
material culture, whereas a historian is like historical accounts. Um, uh, what I do myself is historical archaeologist, which is a combination of the two, where I'm looking at historical accounts and material culture. Um, Material culture meaning the hard findings that was
Stuff.
excavated. Yeah, the
The
stuff
things and
the
stuff.
gubbins, as you sometimes say, Skog, or as the Swedes say, the crimscrams. That's probably my favorite one.
That stuff, what you dig out the ground,
Yeah.
or is the
But,
ground.
Archaeologist deals with fieldwork that might consist of digging and restoring artifacts or human-made objects from ancient ruins. A historian is a person who deals with the past, history. Science is archaeology, which, yeah, archaeology is a science is classified under humanities. Who did we lose? Oh, we lost Ash. Oh no.
Oh, the humanity.
Yeah, I noticed that she was typing something to me. Oh, she's posting my thing in the thing. Oh, I need to update that really old thumbnail that I have.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
I don't even know where that is. That's something that was just
So-
like a default thing that I just clicked on one day, like what 7 years ago, and it's still there.
So, Cross, I think the important question that's on everyone's lip, what is the subject of today's video?
Today's video is just a kind of a chill kind of let's fill in some of the blanks that we missed because we kind of jumped straight in and overlooked a lot of things like who am I, what are we doing with this channel, and well,
Alright.
with this series, I guess.
Okay, so I'm going to throw a curveball at you. Now, I know that it's technically geology, however, the
Oh, yeah.
name suggests historical significance otherwise. The Giant's Causeway, which I believe is in Northern Ireland, actually, isn't it?
It's not far outside of Belfast, I think. I got G.
Now, obviously, it looks like a big bunch of massive stepping stones. So that's presumably why the origin is, inspired by. But is there any historical relevance, whatever, with the name of the Giant's Causeway? Is there a giant in particular that may have used this as, a means of wandering about?
Well, the term giant in relation to that probably comes from. I'm trying to think. Is it the fur bullock, or it's one of the ancient races, which is why we started with the anthropology, or not the anthropology. Sorry, the mythology and folklore of Ireland initially was because I wanted to kind of set the preset, because a lot of that kind of stuff is referred to a lot. For instance, in the Giant's Causeway. Because the Giant's Causeway is actually referenced in the Fenian cycle, where Finn McCool is actually referenced as a giant who fights a Scottish giant, and they're throwing stones across at each other, and they
That's how you
build
get
a
the Isle of
bridge.
Man, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just like mythological reasons to explain geological features.
Okay.
Yeah, like this is why we started with the mythology, because we keep coming back to it a lot. Like
Well, that's always useful.
they're like fictional stories to describe physical things that they can't explain, basically.
Or, which are probably
for
more.
instance-
Isn't it just a big volcanic thing in the end?
It's just a volcanic feature. What is it? It's basalt. So basalt forms above ground, I think.
It forms
Granite is underground and
hexagons.
basalt is above ground. But yeah, and it happened to cool in kind of hexagonal, or is it octagonal?
Hexagon.
Well, in some sort of
big square, like flat-sided
polygon.
geometric shape.
Polygonal.
I'd imagine it's sixes because
hexagonal.
they
There we go.
mesh
It's
continuously.
hexagonal. I have it in front of me now. Hexagonal columns. Yeah. There's nothing kind of man-made to it. It's just
Yep.
it's just an interesting feature of geography that formed naturally, and
No.
in order to explain it, they just made up a story to put on it.
Now, because this is a popular feature, are there any other major, touristy landmarks that are naturally occurring but have historical or mythological significance?
Yes, we spoke about the Ishnok, which is the navel of Ireland. Is a kind of a glacial erratic. Glacial erratics we mentioned a lot. It's like a stone that when the ice sheets are melting back, they've been moved from one location to another. So, for instance, we could have a limestone landscape with one granite rock in it, and it kind of stands out.
Scooped it up and dragged it there, and then the glaciers wandered off again.
Exactly. So, like, Ishnok is like hang on, I find it. Uishnock. I don't know how to spell Ishnok. And neither does DuckDuckGo. Let us try that with Google, because Google would know it. Ishnok.
I thought I would inquire about more of them on the grounds of when you're talking about one, you may as well at least briefly go over any others that have already been covered.
Well, that's why I like to have you here, because you can ask me questions on the go, and sometimes the audience will get more information than I've intended.
I say I'm trying to be here this week. I think I was around last week, but I wasn't really here, as I was very busy and felt ill. As opposed to normal.
Yeah. So Ishnok is I'm trying to find. Does it say the type of stone it's made from? It just says cat stone. Oh, it's also known as the cat stone. For some reason, there's these relationships with these sites to cats. It could be wild cats that are living in caves nearby.
Well, it's presumably a place where they go and lurk because it's high up and they can see.
Oh yeah.
Whereabouts in Ireland is this big?
County Westmeath, so it's kind of in the middle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why it's referred to as the navel of Ireland.
Now, if you wanted to go and look at this as some kind of tourist, where would you need to go to in terms of nearest, big town?
Rathconrat, apparently. The barony of Rathconrat.
That sounds like not a real place, but okay.
County West. Yeah, no, that's why I was looking. I was like, okay, fair enough. Apparently, that's the name of it. Yeah, I'll post a reference to the Wikipedia article I'm looking at, I guess, in the show notes.
Yeah, if you want to.
Does it update it live as I do it?
Yep. Generally, every time you click out of the box or you stop typing for a bit, it'll update.
So I just say, what was it? Reference materials is what I normally say.
Yep. I think how to spell things is probably the easiest one, and then people can find it from there.
Yeah, I'll just stick a quick link to the Wikipedia article for Ishnok.
That works too.
So that they can see it as well. Ishnok is spelt with a fada. Ishnok. I think it's spelled with a fada.
So for context,
apparently,
what's a fada? Is that
a fada is like an accent on the U.
And so it's a bit like
an accent. There should be one on the U, but apparently there's not. So I'm just going to take it away in case I'm wrong.
So like in Flofnir, or Fallowfinir, or
like
the equivalent. Well, not the equivalent, but similar to like an umlaut or the accent you get in. I want to say Spanish and French.
Yep. I
took languages, honest.
In Irish, it's called a fada. I think in English, it's just called an accent. I'm trying to use the English terminology. Seems the primary language of the channel is English, so I'm trying to.
We don't do accents around here.
But yeah, it's a glacial erratic. But yeah, there's a number of other glacial erratics, such as what's the name of the bloody stone that we talked about at Tara. Oh, shit.
Is it the Kingstone? Was
The
it?
Leofoil, who was the Ireland's penis. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, story time on that one. You can't just be
Yeah.
like, oh, it's Ireland's penis. And then just be
Yeah,
like, oh, yeah, you know.
I'm just going to get a little thing of the Leofoil and also put it below because, I kind of feel like that people are going to want to look at that one as well. I said Ireland's penis because nowadays it's referred to as Ireland's penis, but kind of in that says Ishnog. Hang on, it's not Leofoil. In like the past, it was referred to more so as, or it's involved in the kingship ritual. So its context in that is actually female. So it's kind of weird.
So it's a feminine penis.
Yeah, it's since transitioned. So yeah.
No. Okay.
But yeah, the Leofoil is kind of it's like now it's a standing stone that was initially kind of used for a who's that?
Massive
Pasta's joined us.
dildo.
Greetings.
Hey, Pasta. We were talking about the penis of Ireland.
Yeah, what?
Yep. So the Leofoil is a standing. Well, it's a stone. It mightn't literally be the current stone that's standing on the hill of Tara, but it is currently standing. Well, there's one on the hill of Tara that is claimed to be the actual Leofoil of legend. There is another one on the site next to St. Patrick's Church, which could also be the Leofoil. Or is that... No, that's the two druids that you have to pass between. So basically, the kingship ritual is you have to pass up this ceremonial kind of causeway. And then through the gaps in the mounds, you can see the different kind of... what would you call them? Like sites, like important sites around Ireland. You can see them as you walk down this causeway. Or, well, I say walk, you'll be doing it on a chariot if you're trying to be the king. Your Chad McChadson will be paraded along this causeway. And once he gets to the end, he has to pass between two rocks. Basically it's a rock, there's a crack up it. And the two rocks represent two druids that were turned to stone. And they're like the gate at the end. And if the two stones part ways and lets the candidate to be king pass through, then he may pass through. And then the wheel of the chariot is supposed to hit the Leofoil. And if the term it used was ejaculate, but I think they mean orgasm in that context. So if the stone screams in orgasm, then you are the rightful king of Ireland.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's basically a metaphor for mating with the country.
You fucked
Yeah,
all
you'll
Ireland,
see.
therefore.
Yeah.
You
Hey, it's better than the old ritual. Literally had to fuck a white mare and then kill it, eat it, and feed it to your followers.
Jesus.
Yep. Hang on, I can find it.
I mean, that just sounds like someone really wanted an excuse to fuck a horse.
I mean,
Really, there's some sort of a thing like that. Yeah.
conceivably.
Yeah. Irish kingship. Rich. I don't have it to hand, so I'm just trying to find it. Kingship ritual. See if I can find it. It's first described by Giraldus Cambrensis' book, which was 1150. It was kind of like an anti-Irish propaganda book, but Topographica Hibernia is our best reference for a lot of early documented stuff going on in Ireland, if you know what I mean, in the early medieval, well, early high medieval period. I don't see any reference because this is just a thing of random thing, and this is not that at all. So I'm going to swiftly move on because I can't find any information to hand at the moment.
Alright.
What would we like to talk about? What more glacial erratics, or we move on to something else?
What I could
Yeah.
go on. Oh, right. What I was going to suggest is, since we don't really have too much of a focus tonight, could you tell us what potential things you would do in a future episode?
That's a good question.
Stuff, yeah.
So I'm just gonna, before I answer that, because it's also part of the answer. In the background should be a picture of myself, drawn by Ash, and behind me should be Newgrange, which is a monument in Brunaboynia, which is the Boyne Valley in Mead, I think. So we'll probably do a thing. We probably will discuss Brunaboynia and Newgrange in the future. We will probably discuss the famine because Ash requested that one, and that sounds interesting. Stu, you requested something about Northern Ireland and the Troubles, so I'll come up with something to do with that.
I think I did that as a meme more than anything.
Yeah, no, but I got to do it because you said it. I got to do it.
Alright, well, what I would say is leave that to a really late episode. Like, if you decide to do the whole history of Ireland leading up to it, I think leave that till one of the last episodes of the history of Ireland.
One of the things I'm unsure of, and you might be able to give me feedback on this, is would you prefer I do things in or do the order matter?
The order doesn't technically matter, I suppose, but I as me would personally think chronological would be easier to follow because then you could date them, and we've already covered like the really early history, I think. So,
well, what I did was I kind of covered more so the mythology.
Yeah, start.
Kind of one because it sets backstory. Because when we get to things like, again, describing things like the Giant's Causeway, it's easier for me to explain it because I've already told you the story of Finn McCool.
Yeah.
Or I can just refer to a previous episode where we discussed that. Like we'll discuss Finn McCool again in the future in better when I'm more.
He's the guy that teleported around, was he, or is that different?
No, I think the guy who teleported around was Niall and the Nine Hostages. Is that?
Oh yeah, that was him. Because Finn McCool's the Chad one with the sling, isn't he?
Oh, he's the Chad with the spear.
Oh yeah,
the magic spear.
Because there's a couple of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a few magic spears, but his magic spear was the one that made him immune to the monsters.
That's pretty good.
They tried to make him go to sleep. He's like, no. And then him and his gang are running around in the woods being chads.
Right.
But
go to sleep. No.
We can also discuss in the future as well. Things that I'm more familiar with would be the medieval period. So we'll discuss the early medieval period, the high medieval period, and the late medieval period. Probably focusing more so on the later medieval period, which is both the late and the high medieval period. Terminology in academia can be quite confusing and make no sense sometimes, because there's a difference between the late and the later medieval period, being that the later one includes the high medieval period, which is the middle part. I don't know why the middle part is usually referred to as high. It just is.
The High Republic. Oh god.
What else could we discuss? We could probably revisit the Vikings, especially in Dublin, because there's an important settlement in Dublin that's literally founded on slavery, so that's fun. That'll be an episode getting us in trouble, mostly with Americans who don't understand. Yeah. We can do an episode on Kilkenny.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Entire episode on the process of brewing in Kilkenny. Tradition. Until fucking Diageo bought it up and started making it in fucking Dublin.
Yeah, corporations.
Corporation gay
What were we going to say, Stu?
No, I was just going to say the other alternate thing besides the chronological time frame would be something along the lines of just specific cultural things in Ireland, or buildings, or concepts.
We do specific buildings. There's actually. Oh, is this making a pouring noise? I'm pouring this Lucozade. Yeah, I really like Lucozade, and Ash, was it Ash or Skog reminded me before the show that I had Lucozade in the fridge. Forgotten about. But the next week we will probably do a special on St. Patrick because it's St. Patrick's Day, and due to the recent events with the corona, I'm pretty sure that the St. Patrick's Day should be or will be cancelled, and if not, it probably should be. So
stay in and have a couple of quiet ones with your streamers.
Mm-hmm. I might actually try and set up my green screen for Dom. Green screen ourselves into last year's St. Patrick's Day parade and pretend we're there. live from the parade in Dublin. we'll Photoshop ourselves next to Michael D. and the.
No, we just get footage of the. We just get footage of it.
Yeah.
And see what kind of camera angles we can do.
Yeah, we'll superimpose ourselves at the news desk. But yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah, we'll. I have a few ideas. The problem is I don't have much time to actually prepare for these episodes. So last week I literally had like a few hours, and this week again I literally had like 2-3 hours. So what we will probably do, because I cancelled some of my stuff I do on Wednesdays so that I can have an extra day to work on the show. So that means next week we'll actually have or you'll see the benefit of that, because like it takes a week to get my schedule around. So that'll be starting from this week basically, because tomorrow is free. And yeah, that should be good. Oh, I forgot to mention actually, yesterday I joined the cast, I guess, of Stu's show, new show,
The Spice Wars, yeah.
The Spice Wars,
Yes.
Star Wars Season 2, featuring most of the people present here. Would you like to tell the audience about that, Stu?
I guess, yeah. We're carrying on our little Star Wars campaign that finished up first season 6 months ago. We're back. Last episode was yesterday, which is the start of season 2. We raided the what remains of Alderon's asteroid field. And the gang found a bunch of goodies there, so they're next week going to try and sell those goodies and make a nice bit. So see how that one turns out for them.
We were basically out grave robbing a planet.
You were excavating.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find a link to the Star Wars thing so I can. Oh, there it is. The Graveyard is the name of the episode. I'm just going to copy it and paste it.
It's a bit rougher than some of our other episodes, but it's mainly because we're all getting back into the groove of things. So the next episodes will go a bit smoother, I'd imagine.
Stu's Star Wars RPG. What's the name of it? Spice Wars?
Yeah, the Spice Wars.
I go away for a couple of minutes, and it sounds like you're ending the stream.
Oh, no, I'm just plugging the thing that I meant to mention at the beginning because it was a lot of fun, and I was just plugging it because why not? He's here, and yeah. Oh, I need to get the link to that. Copy. Basically, I wanted Stu to talk about it for a minute so that I can actually add it to the list.
Yeah. Not too much to say for it. It really speaks for itself when you actually watch the episode.
It's a Star Wars RPG.
Yeah, like I
Yes.
don't think
It's
it's
got
much.
Wookiees, lightsabers.
ATST.
It had Wookiees, but the Wookiee didn't show up.
I'm
Drug
sorry.
It has drug addicts, yes.
It
and
has a
lightsabers.
PTSD droid. He gives it to people.
Yep.
It has John Wick.
As a Jedi, because that's an interesting idea.
And it features me as a Spider-Man from Connemara who just
Has a
kind of
gun.
showed up.
And
It
a
has a
lot
gun
of
and blows
and
stuff
a-
up.
and a lot of good advice for somebody who just wants to start a business.
I mean, that's debatable, but we'll see what happens next.
Oh no. Actually, speaking of which, advice for people, someone who wants to start a business. So I have been job hunting, and that's not been going so well. So I've discovered that I might actually just continue doing entrepreneurial stuff because that's what I've been doing anyway. And in doing so, I've realized that my town has like a entrepreneurial center, and in that they teach you how to do finances stuff for your businesses and whatnot. And I'm like, ooh, that sounds like exactly like the kind of thing I want to learn. So
Mhm.
yeah, I might actually do some classes in that, and they're not too long. Because I've done entrepreneur stuff with university before, or not university, with my undergrad before, and it was interesting, but I forget all of it because it's been so long ago. Because you know when you're studying and you do your exams, once you've done your exams, you forget everything you learned. But
Yeah,
um,
you get like a slip brain.
yeah,
I
you
guess.
it just all just goes out again straight away. I'm just trying to find an older version of a show that I've done so I can grab Pasta's name and add him onto the list. I'll add you on after the show, Pasta. Sorry.
Yeah, fair enough.
We'll plug your channel in a bit. What else can we talk about? So I have in front of me subfields. I've in front of me subfields of archaeology. We could probably just get to that at a later stage.
Okay.
Because we could just talk about that for ages. Because there's zoo archaeology, historical archaeology. There's the technical side of archaeology with geophysics and geography and what is it? Anthropology and archaeology mixed together. What is it? What's that called? Oh shit! Paleoanthropology, probably. Yeah, but yeah, it's that's a big topic. So we'll get into that another time. I've talked about who I am. Why should you care about? That's a good question that asked Asha, and I think she's done it as a meme, but I figured that is a good question. So one of the things I like to do, more so, is a thing called, and it's another subfield of archaeology. Sorry, I need to slow down. I'm Irish. I talk really fast sometimes. One of the things I like to do is another subfield of archaeology called public archaeology, which is where you engage with the public, i.e., people who are not archaeologists, and teach them about archaeology and history and kind of help them interpret it. I like to leave it open to your own interpretation, but I still will try and, you know what I mean, reword some things so that it's not the technical terms for it. Because that can be frustrating when you don't understand sometimes what the words mean, because a lot of academia uses that, and it can be a bit frustrating sometimes. But yeah, one of the things I like to work with or work through or do is public archaeology, which is this kind of thing where instead of giving a public lecture, I am giving public lectures on the internet with a panel of people to ask me questions, which is literally the same thing as I could do live with people IRL, but I think it works better online.
So we
but
can
we
vet
can
who's
meme.
there.
Yeah. Because we can get more people, and we can have people from different places who don't necessarily have to go to the effort of showing up
Yeah.
True.
in person, which is a lot easier. Like, Pasta could be sitting there in his underpants, and we'll never know.
No, not this time of day.
Oh, he's not wearing any pants.
Oh, this.
But yeah.
You know this? Just double check that webcam. No, okay.
Here's the camera on.
Oh, he
no.
did a DSP and left his web.
Oh no. But yeah. So why should the audience care? Well, I don't know. Why should the audience care? I guess I'm not too bothered to be honest. It's nice if you care. If you don't, that's fair enough. I just realized there's only 4 people watching, so yeah.
But you might learn something if you do watch, so there you go.
Well, I guess I'm interesting to listen to, is what the main feedback I get from people. One of the things I know that I'm apparently good at is communicating things, so that works well when I'm trying to do public archaeology, I guess.
Yep.
Having more time to prepare the shows is certainly a thing that I'm trying to make work, and that also helps with having content. So the next thing on my list is, why is archaeology important? And I'm just wondering if I had a specific thing to hand, because I didn't prepare it for some reason. Where is it? I have a folder here somewhere called work. And in that folder is a thing that I just wanted to grab quickly. There it is. Work. Essays. Uni work. I done a thing on, there it is. I think it's this one. I done a little thing on treasure hunting, and I think that might be the best thing to help answer this question. Let me have a quick look. So this was an essay I wrote in regard to outline and critically discuss the debate on practice of treasure hunting using at least 2 relevant case studies in your essay. Ooh. So for this, I discussed a positive and a negative aspect of treasure hunting, because treasure hunting is generally frowned upon, because usually in through archaeological methodology, when you do excavations, every single thing that is really done is catalogued and written down, as with most scientific method. Everything is kind of noted down. In treasure hunting, it's not necessarily done, and you end up with like finds and no idea of the context of where it came from, which
it's not
is
really
important.
science. You're literally just being a scavenger, kind of trying to find something cool.
Kinda, yeah. But there are some positive things that came out of it. For instance, one of the people initially working on the discovery of Homo nealdi and the Rising Star Cave was actually a former treasure hunter who'd been trained up. So like he had been doing treasure hunting for a while, and then got some work with what's his name, Professor Lee Berger from. See if I can pronounce this word. I'm trying to find it in front of me so that I can read it.
Did you say Lieberger?
Lee Berger. I could be wrong. I hope I've not said his name wrong. making me worried now. Past.
I'm not trying to.
Lee Berger from. Hang on, I'm just going to Google it because I can't find it in the essay. Lee Berger. Rising Star Cave. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, it's Lee Berger. Sorry. Yeah, I'm trying to find the name of the university that he is from in South Africa. It's where's Han when you need him to pronounce the name that's kind of Dutch. Okay, I can't find it. Lee Rogers Berger, is this him? Yeah, here he is. Does it say? Okay, I'm going to post this in the green room. Have a go at saying this word. Witwatersrand. Waterstrand. Yeah. You can see how I'm having difficulty trying to remember how to pronounce that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he hired a man whose name escapes me at the moment. He was a former treasure hunter that actually is it PBS? No, National Geographic did a really interesting documentary called on Rising Star Cave and Homo nealdi. I think it's called like Becoming Human. I think it was called or something. I could be wrong. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Oh, I might have referenced it in my bibliography. Hang on, I skipped to the end.
He hired a man formerly known as Indiana Jones.
Dawn of Humanity, it's called. But yeah. So yeah, that was a former treasure hunter that was because he had already been doing it for years. He had been trained to do the archaeological method and transitioned into doing that kind of that way, and was helpful. That's turning a negative into a positive, which is always a good thing. So for some reason in this essay, I referred to The Labyrinth, which is a 2012 two-part drama by what's his name, Ridley Scott, featuring Kate Moss. I don't know why that's mentioned in here, but okay. I think I was talking about archaeology in the media.
Oh yeah, movies.
Because I really dislike always referring to Indiana Jones, so I look for other references. I also mentioned Carlos in this as a archaeology YouTuber doing public archaeology. I actually messaged him last week to try and get him on last week's show, but apparently he's in Australia. I didn't know that. So yeah, I'll try and talk to him again another time. I'm just trying to skip forward a bit. So yeah, treasure hunting is also involved. Mostly the history of it kind of starts with the Egyptology, and a lot of the artifacts been kind of stolen. And then treasure hunting in Ireland. Let's skip to that quickly. The Derry Fannin Hoard was a hoard of artifacts that was discovered by metal detectorists. In 1980, when a man and his son metal detecting discovered and excavated the early medieval hoard within an old and monastic enclosure. So basically, some monks at some time buried these artifacts in Tipperary and on a monastery, and hadn't been discovered until these guys metal detecting found it. Again, you could call it a positive, but this kind of stuff kind of goes into the negative in that the chalice paten, strainer, and bronze basin, they're currently in the National Museum, but the pair received a finder's fee because sometimes you receive money from the museum, not always. And just for context, all of the artifacts discovered in Ireland, that's all of them, are the property of the Irish state, which means they are the property of the National Museum of Ireland. So if you find anything in Ireland, you don't own it. The museum owns it automatically because, the museum takes ownership of it, but it's technically belonged to the state. So that means all of the people in Ireland own it. So, yeah. Ooh, we lost someone.
Stop.
Oof. Dom wasn't happy that he didn't know. something that he got. Oh no.
So it does in fact belong in a museum in Ireland.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so this case that we're referring to ended up in the High Court in 1986. The hoard was had an estimated worth of 5.5 million Irish pounds at the time. So that's significantly more now. So the Supreme Court state in 1987, which the hoard means it was state property. So this is kind of the case in which modern artifacts became part of the Irish state. So the hoard of early medieval silver ingots. Oh, a hoard is a separate one. Silver ingots weighing 27.22 kgs was found at Carricklock. Ingots were not metal detected, but were recovered after being illegally exported to Belgium. So basically, they got caught going through customs. A undisclosed number of Viking silver bracelets recovered from Rathmoley, also recovered after being illegally exported outside of Ireland without a license. So basically, all artifacts usually have documentation that comes along with them. So not so much in Ireland because all the artifacts are owned by the state, but in like places like Italy or Spain where artifacts can be owned by collectors, they usually come with a documentation or a significant certificate of like to prove that it's not stolen, if you know what I mean.
For sure.
But yeah, so that's the negative aspects of treasure hunting is illegal black market trade in artifacts and stuff. And the positives, again, this is where I get into the homoneality. I forgot I mentioned it twice in this thing, where I discussed the Australopithecus sediba and homoneality. Yeah. I can go into all these different things later.
Yeah.
Discussing Australopithecus, and I wanted to do it with Carlos because he knows a lot more about it than I do.
Mm-hmm.
But he's currently busy at the moment, so I'll try again in the future. One of the things this essay was originally about, but it didn't make the final cut, was I was talking about ISIS in Syria and their destruction of the Mosul Museum and the execution of the what's the name of the guy? The head archaeologist.
The curator?
Because, the curator of the museum, who's also the head archaeologist.
Didn't they like torture him to death because he wouldn't tell them where he'd hidden the rest of the artifacts?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to, is that during the, I call it recent because it was up until like 2015-ish. When ISIS was at its height in Syria, they had like a price on archaeologists to they were trying to capture archaeologists because they knew where certain sites were so that they could find and destroy them.
Because they were haram in the eyes of the Almighty Allah by their interpretation.
Oh yeah, because they disproved that Allah is the only.
There is no God but Allah, my dudes.
And at some point in the future, I'd like to get layman have a chat about some stuff.
You probably could, to be honest.
Yeah, we could try and get layman, or at some another time we could get maybe Sargon and this.
I reckon Sargon would be down. Just having
he'd be down. It's just contacting him is the issue.
I mean, contacting him's easy. Having him reply.
That's what I mean. Like,
you probably want to message one of his dudes.
Yeah.
I'm derailing. Sorry.
No. I was just thinking I could chat to Nuka or Ritualist at some point and see if they could pass on the message to him. But yeah, we can at some point down the line. I'll try and get Carlos, and we can discuss hominins and Australopithecus and whatnot.
Also, for David Duffy in the chat. It is, I believe the Americans are currently signing a peace treaty with the Taliban, which is Afghanistan's own different sect of, radical peacekeepers.
Yeah, the Taliban was technically at war with
with ISIS, weren't they?
with ISIS, yeah, because they're a different sect of Islam, and we're not going to get into that right now. We can in the future discuss the different sects of Islam and the
Sectarianism.
Crusades.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, it's because it's like Catholics and the Protestants. Except...
Yeah, my impression was the Taliban were the remnants of the Mujahideen. Something.
Yeah, that's what I was
That's where they
building
came
up to.
from.
But yeah, the
So they have a slightly different way of operating than the
the ISIS were a bit more chaotic with the Mujahideen.
Well, I gather from people talking about it who have the big brains that ISIS are basically a doomsday cult. They plan to bring about the end of the world so they can, show that they have done good work, sort of thing. It's kind of like that South Korean like doomsday cult that's been spreading coronavirus.
Yeah.
Because someone went, hey, you know what's going to be a great idea?
Some people just like to watch the world burn.
Yes.
Some people like to spread the coronavirus. Others just like to destroy artifacts.
What a bunch of bastards.
Some people just don't care about fucking history. God damn it.
Well, you don't have to worry about the past if you destroy it.
So why is history and material culture important? Well, sometimes it's nice to know where you came from, and you
Well,
identify
Cross,
yourself.
that's not allowed.
Well, there's that, and also history teaches us many different interesting things. Some of them are mistakes we don't want to repeat. Some of them are very interesting for people checking, for sociologists, for example.
My dudes.
Everyone has something to learn from history. Just need to find out what. And everybody has a use for it.
Like, if, as a very tangential thing, I remember seeing a documentary years ago that I gather was quite suppressed at the time, or rather, at its original airing, that electric cars were apparently very common during the 18th century. Because when the average thing that powers your car is a steam engine, having a car that's basically just lead-acid batteries honestly isn't much different. So people would just have these huge battery-powered cars and lorries and stuff. And then they went out of fashion because petrol was lighter. But you had these cars that have been around, that were around, 100 years ago, but they went out of fashion. And now they're coming back.
Yeah.
Oh.
So history repeats itself.
So Duffman in the chat has asked, and kind of not repeat the past, although we do. Oh yeah, to remind us not to repeat mistakes in the past, like spreading of the Spanish flu.
Indeed,
Which,
it's one of the.
Apparently, we know nothing from that.
I do believe that is one of the most common ways we can utilize the past. But we all have something to learn from.
Even in our own personal lives, we always learn mistakes, or at least should be learning from our mistakes.
I don't know what you mean.
But yeah, so I'm just realizing we're coming up on the hour mark.
Hour, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so might start winding it down then, I guess, because we actually went for an hour, even though I said we'd only probably do half an hour.
Well, showed you.
So, I guess, Stu, you're next on the list here. Is there anything you'd like to plug or say before we wind down?
Nah, I think we already talked about the Star Wars game next week, where you can see where they managed to sell all their treasure hunting stuff or not. You could call it.
Was it to the Irish government?
Yeah, I found was it a Jew-back fossil?
A Jew-back, hide fossil thing. Yeah, that was quite I
thought that
literally
was
went
quite
on the
apt.
loot table and was like,
Yeah.
yeah, that'll do. Oh, that's a funny.
That was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Pasta, is there anything you'd like to plug?
No. Learn
Okay.
history. Well, I want to plug history. Learn history.
Yeah.
Read your books, Bucko.
Like Joe Biden, it belongs in a museum.
Oh god. I've been watching Paradise PD, and they pull the piss out of Joe Biden constantly. It's actually quite funny.
Actually, here's the final thing to say.
Yeah.
Is it safe to say that Indiana Jones is a treasure hunter, not an archaeologist? Because that seems to be his vibe as a
Yeah,
character.
he is an archaeologist who engaged in treasure hunting. So
He's the peak performance.
he,
He wants some money and he's an archaeologist.
Jesus, yeah, he's not a good
Moneyologist.
archaeologist. He is one of the worst. He is probably the worst
Oh yeah,
archaeologist.
'cause he destroys so much
Yeah.
stuff when he's out and about. Yeah.
Actually, fun fact: one of the things that got me into archaeology was actually Tomb Raider.
Oh, the Lara
I
Croft.
just realized, is Ash streaming?
Yes, she is.
Oof.
Yeah,
That's
we
why
should
she
probably
left.
wind down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, go check out Ash. She's currently streaming right now, and give her abuse because she left my show to go stream. But yeah, Skog, is there anything you'd like to plug?
Not really. I'll probably be having my D&D game on Wednesday as usual. Probably.
Yeah.
That'll be tomorrow on my channel. No, not tomorrow. Thursday. Thursday it is now. That's about it.
All right.
Fair enough.
Don't
Well,
get
I
coronavirus. Or if you do,
Mhm.
try not to spread it because it's mean and rude.
Yeah, it's very rude of you to spread that around. I'm trying to find Pasta's link here so I can add him to my thing below, so we can plug his channel as well. If you find yourself with some spare change and you are looking for the day, feel free to donate towards the channel and me getting better internet and our other things. There was another thing that I came up with, but I can't remember what it was. So
Books.
yeah, I need to write these things down. Ash pointed that out earlier that I have a lot of forgetting to write
Even
them
if
down.
it's just a notepad with little sentences scrolled here and there, it jogs your memory of what you're supposed to be thinking.
Oh, you should see my desk is just covered in post-its. And sometimes the problem is I end up. But yeah. So, thanks for watching. I've been Cool Cross. Is there anything else anyone has to say, or is that it?
No, I think we've
Nope.
covered everything for now.
All right. Thanks everyone in the chat, and thanks Leona and Duffman. We will see ye all next week.
See
Bye
ya.
bye.